Hey guys, it's Ricky. How's it going? Well, since it's October and it's getting very close to Halloween, I've decided to make a review on a more anime that fits with the time. So, today I'm going to be doing a review of Vampire Knight, the anime that makes you feel like a girl in drama for a small time. So, Vampire Knight is a two-season anime that's animated by Studio Deans. Now, the first season of Vampire Knight aired from April 7th, 2008 to June 30th, 2008. And season 2, Vampire Knight Guilty, aired from October 6th, 2008 to December 29th, 2008. Now, the anime is dubbed and subbed. So, our story starts off with Yuki being a little girl being rescued by Kaname Kuran when she was attacked by a vampire. Then, 10 years later, Yuki Cross, adopted by the headmaster of the Cross Academy, Kane Cross, she becomes a guardian of the night class. Now, this night class is exclusively for vampires. So from there, our story takes off as we follow our main protagonist, Yuki Cross, and all of the situations and dramas that surround her. So with a little bit of information out of the way, and the story out of the way, I'm gonna get to some of the characters in the show. So, like I've mentioned, our main protagonist is Yuki Cross. So, Yuki Cross is a very interesting character. While I was watching the anime, I did notice that her shape of the eyes, her eyes were a bit different. They were a bit bigger than the rest of the characters in the show. And you do get to hear it be mentioned and a bit of a reason why, and it comes from Kaname. So it's very interesting. Now I will get to him later on. But Yuki Cross is a bit of an interesting character. We get to follow her throughout the story and everything she goes through, but we also get to hear what she's thinking about situations, that happens to her or the people around her, and we get to hear her thoughts and emotions on how she feels and how she thinks. So that was very interesting that the show did that. Now, one of the things that I do like about Yuki Cross is that she's very outgoing, and she does put herself in situations that are not very comfortable to her, but she does it for the other people, not for herself. So a lot of things that she does and says are more for other people, to please other people, to make people happy, especially Zero. I will get to him later on, but she does do a lot of things for him that are not very, you could say, fair to her. And I do like that about her. It gives her more character to her by not doing things for herself but for other people. Now, overall, she is a very okay character. She's not very, she doesn't stand out very much. Now, she doesn't have to, because in the show, the feel of the show is very toned down, very dark. There's not a lot of bright lights. It's very shadowy, very dark. So for this show, she is a perfect character. She's not very splendid, but she is okay for the show. So next we have Kaname Kuran. Now, Kaname Kuran is a pure-blood vampire, and 10 years ago he did save Yuki from a level E vampire. A level E vampire being a vampire that once was a human, and he tried to attack Yuki, but Kaname saved her. So 10 years later, Kaname apparently is going to this school. Now, I won't get to it because it is a bit of a spoiler, but he's there. Now, like I mentioned, Kaname Kuran is a pure-blood vampire. And what does this mean? Well, it means that he has the ability to control other vampires. And Kaname Kuran is the student president, something like that. Like, he's like the main guy in the night class. He's the president. And he has the ability to control other vampires, but he decides not to. He wants other vampires to follow him as they just want to follow him, not for him to order them around. So, Kaname is very special to Yuki. We get to see a lot of interesting interactions between the two in the show. I won't get to it too much because it'd be a bit of a spoiler towards season 2, but they are very close together. We get to see a lot of flashbacks on Yuki, that Kaname was always there. And Kaname does treat Yuki with special care. He does love her. You could say that's a spoiler, but you'll get to see that a lot. Because we don't hear that he loves her, but the way he acts around her, we get to see him treat her more gently. Now, this is very noticeable because Kaname Kuran is a very gentleman. He's very straightforward. He's very nice, but he's yet very cool looking. He's walking straight, looking straight. He's very serious. But when he sees Yuki, his character and his mood change a little bit. He becomes a bit more happier. His face changes, and we get to see how he acts. The difference, it's very noticeable when he is around his vampire peers, and when he's around Yuki. So overall, Kanemakuran is a very interesting character, and he probably is my favorite character of the show because he's so cool, collective, very smart. He does think things through to like extreme levels, and he's very calm, collective, and he's very caring for Yuki, and he's a very diverse character with different sides. So again, overall, he is my favorite character in the show, and I did like the way he played his role in the show. And a special mention about Kaname Kuran, I did watch the show dubbed, and I really, really did like his voice actor in English dubbed. It was very, very cool. In the beginning of the show, it does come off as a little weird, but as the show continues, it fits him perfectly. So I do give props to the English dub voice actor that voiced Kaname Kuran. I really did like it and enjoyed it, and the way he speaks, I don't know, his voice does fit very well with Kaname Kuran. So the next character that I'm going to be mentioning is Zero. Now, like I've mentioned to him before, Zero is the adopted brother of Yuki. Now, he becomes an adopted brother of Yuki when he was younger, when they were both younger. Zero and his family were killed by a vampire. Now, throughout the years, we get to see flashbacks of Yuki's flashbacks that Zero becomes, he starts to grow his hatred towards vampires because a vampire did slaughter his family. And we do get to see this a lot throughout the show. Zero is a very serious character. He doesn't like to joke around. He's very straight to the point, and he hates vampires. And he especially hates Kaname Kuran. Now, we get to see a lot of interactions with Zero and Yuki, especially with Yuki doing a lot of things for Zero. Yet Zero thinks that all the things Yuki does are like a debt that he needs to pay. And it was very interesting when they got to it. But Zero, otherwise, he's a very cool character. He doesn't like to joke around. He's very serious. But there are some of those moments, small moments where he does open up to Yuki. But like Yuki mentions, we get to hear that he always ends up closing back up. He opens a little bit, but he closes back up. So Zero is a very hermit character. When Yuki gets close, he, backs up. So overall, Zero is a very interesting character. There are a lot of, he is tied a lot to the main story of Season 1 and Season 2, especially in Season 2. So I did like his character. Granted, he did come off as a little bit like an asshole, just a little bit, but overall, he's fine. He plays his part of the show very well. His voice actor for the English dub is very nice. Nothing special, but it does work. So overall, Zero is a bit of an asshole at times, especially to other people, but he's an okay character. Now, there are a lot more characters in the show, a lot more, but I'm not going to be mentioning them because the show doesn't really focus on other characters but the three of them. So I did like that. I do like that about the show, that it focus the show on them three. But other characters, there, some minor characters, but I'm not going to be mentioning them. But what I will mention are the Night Class. Now, the Night Class are, like I've mentioned, vampires, but some are regular vampires, but others are aristocrats. And what this means are they're like the sons and daughters, granddaughters of high-powered vampires, which are in the Senate, or they just have a lot of money. Now, most of them are drawn very cool. They're drawn very beautiful. And like Yuki says, all of the Night Class students are very beautiful because they are high-powered vampires. So, So with the three main characters out of the way, I'm going to be mentioning a bit of some things I liked about the show, some things I didn't like, and, other things. So, one thing I would like to mention about the show was that the animation of the show was okay. It was nothing special, granted, but it did fit with the way the show felt, There was very low lighting. most of the time the show is very toned down on the lights and colors. Colors are very solid. They're not bright. They're not beautiful. They're not shiny. Everything looks very dark, and you know you might not like it, but it does fit with the show. You know, vampires, the feel. So that was very interesting. The opening and ending songs were very nice. The ending song for season one was a bit creepy. I don't know, but season's two ending was, yeah, it was okay. Openings were decent, nothing special again, but I did listen to them every episode, you know, because you know maybe I had to get a drink or something, so I'd let the opening go. So overall, opening, ending, they were nice. They were okay, nothing special, but you know they fit with the show. But what I would like to mention is that the opening songs did start and feel like it was a vampire TV show. Like, I don't know, it was very interesting. If you hear the opening and then watch the show, you understand. But the songs do fit very well with this show. So I did like that. One of the things that I did like about the show was Yuki and Kaname. Now, I will not mention too much, but towards the very, very end, I did like, season 2, I did like what happens with Yuki and Kaname. And I actually was not mad. You know, I will not say too much about it because it is like a big reveal. You see it coming, you know, kind of, but I won't mention it. But I do like how it turns out with Yuki and Kaname. And if you've seen the show, you might agree, and you do know what I'm talking about. But I want to know if you agree with me or disagree. But I think, due to the fact of what Kaname is, I do think it is reasonable of what happens. You know, it's very reasonable. I did like it. It didn't bother me. Like other shows try to do that, it doesn't work out so well, and it bothers me. But in this show, it works out because Kaname is, like they say in the show, a monster. So I did like that. Another thing that I liked, or it would fit more of disliked, was that Zero pretty much, I feel bad for him. You know, he did get the bad end of the stick. Zero, he's portrayed as like a lot of bad things happen to him, and it kind of sucks. Like it really does suck. Like when you watch this show, you kind of feel bad for him. So I don't know. It stood out to me that Zero, it sucks. He gets situations. He gets like all of these things that suck. But the thing that I liked overall about the show was the theme of the show, vampires. You know, I liked that concept, that idea overall, because in the show it does get into it, and it does try to create a bit of a society between, or a society in vampires. So what this is that vampires are placed in levels. On the top level, imagine a pyramid, right? You know, you got the top and you got the bottom. On the very top are the purebloods. Now, what they are is literally, it is what it says in the name, purebloods. They are purebloods. Their blood is obtained by human or other low-class vampires. They are purebloods in the senses that they intermingle with each other to keep their lineage pure. And you might be thinking, how is that, good or anything like that? Well, they aren't human. So, physical or mental disabilities with, mingling with each other, especially siblings, it doesn't affect them because they're vampires. Their blood is stronger, their genes are stronger. So I do like that about the show, that isn't an issue, and I understand why, and it doesn't bother me. So that was very interesting, purebloods. Below them, we have the aristocrats. Now, aristocrats are pretty much governors that are in the vampire senate, and they are very wealthy, high-powered vampires. And you see how that, you have the top, you got the middle, and then below them are regular vampires. But below them are level E's, which are vampires that once were human, and after a while they end up going crazy, and they have to kill them. So I do like how there's a society, there's a pyramid, and it does get into it in the show. Yuki and the rest of the vampires and people, characters, they get to see this pyramid and how like leveled it is, and the discrimination between each level of vampires. So I do like that the show did, and overall that was very interesting. It was It gave another layer to the story, which it didn't have to have, but it did. So I like that. I give it props to the show. Now, one of the things that you could say disliked, but it's not something I disliked, but more that it bothered me, is that the show is very slow. And this is a bit of a warning that I'm gonna give to people, is that the show is very slow. There's not a lot of explosions, something big, stuff like that. It's very slow, calm, and it gets to its, peak towards the end of the first season, and then begins again with the second season. So the show is very slow. Nothing big happens. There's a lot of talking, a lot of conversations. So it might bother you, but don't let it discourage you. The show is very interesting and very interesting to watch. And since it's October, Halloween, and all that stuff, I definitely you should watch it, and don't let that discourage you. But it's something I will mention is that the show is very slow. Now, one of the things that I will say that I disliked about the show was that sometimes the quality of animation drops significantly. And you could see this in still shots. And a lot of the times in some still shots, when it was with characters on the background or other things in the background, most of the characters in the background didn't have a face. Now, you could look at this two ways. Well, I did anyways. One way to look at it is that they didn't have time, and they just scrapped it, and they're like, we have to get this done, doesn't really matter, so just keep going. But another thing, that the way to look at it is that maybe the faceless people do play a role in the show, and I'm leaning more towards this than the rush and the cutting and stuff. I'm leaning more towards the fact that it plays more of a how do you say this? More of a sentimental thing, with other normal humans not having faces. Yet vampires do. They give them a face. So I don't know. You could play this as like, this is more of a if it's more with the tone of the show, maybe something like that, inner message of the show, that normal humans don't have faces. So, but I didn't really like that. I'm like, come on, just draw them in. But I didn't really like that. And like I mentioned, the animation does the quality very low. When the camera zooms out of the frame, it's not very high quality. It's not good, and it's noticeable at times, but other times it's not. But if you look at it, it's there. Some of the still shots, it looks a lot like I'm looking more of like a picture instead of an anime, if you can even say that. But it looks very flat. There's no depth. Because the show is very dark, it's hard to draw shadows, which give the characters depth. So the animation, like I said, it's not very good at times. But when there's fight scenes or other stuff like that, it does get good. But I didn't like that about the show. So overall, guys, Vampire Knight is a very interesting show which tells of vampires and humans trying to coexist. And as we get to see Yuki's past be revealed, and overall it's a very interesting show with the interactions of Yuki with Kaname and Zero and other characters like that. With their interactions, it was very interesting. So again, overall, guys, the show was it was an okay show, and because of that, I'm giving the score of 3 out of 5 stars. It is an okay anime. The show isn't very and it's not like a big boom, like it's not explosions, there's not like a lot of things that more of upbeat shows show you. This show is very slow, it takes its time, it's more character based. So overall, it's an okay show. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I mean, it's not something that you must watch, but I definitely do recommend the show Vampire Knights. It's a very interesting show. There's not a lot of vampire shows that focus mainly on vampires, and this one is. So I definitely recommend the show, but if it doesn't sound like you might like it, it's okay. But I will say that it's something to consider. Maybe not watch it now, maybe watch it later, but it's something to consider. So guys, thank you for watching my review of Vampire Knight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I gave you some interesting information. If you don't know about the show, I hope I intrigued you. And if you have seen the show, I would like to maybe you put down a bit of a comment down below and maybe tell me if you agreed with some of the things I said, disagreed, or maybe something I missed. if you've seen the show or something you might want to say to other people that might be interested in the show, that might help them or push them to watch the show. If it's your show that you want other people to watch, put it in the comments below. And I would like to ask, if you've seen the show, who do you go for, Zero or Kaname? Who is the best guy, that you liked? And this show is aimed more towards a female audience. It's still fine. I didn't have trouble watching it, but sometimes it was a bit cheesy. You can tell it's aimed towards female people, girls. So if you've seen it and you're a female, I'd like to know, Zero or Kaname, which one? I go more for Kaname because he's cool. I liked him more. Zero is a bit of a but he's the more of the bad boy. So I'm pretty sure more girls will go for Zero. But I'd like to know who is better. So again, guys, overall, thanks for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if it's a bit too long. I doubt it is, but whatever. I know I haven't been doing a lot of anime. I haven't been doing a lot of videos. Sorry for that. I've been kind of busy, stuff has been happening, so I haven't had the time to record. I've had time to watch anime, but just the recording part is a bit hard because of situations that are going on. But I don't think that I'm done with YouTube or uploading of stuff. I'm still here. I'm still gonna be making reviews of anime and other stuff like that. So I'm talking too much, sorry. But anyway, guys, anything to add, put it in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and check out my YouTube channel. I do have a good amount of videos, unboxing videos, some reviews. So once you see my YouTube channel, consider subscribing. It definitely does help. It gives me more of a push to make more videos, because all these people with my current subscribers, that's a push enough. But if I have more, it's a bigger push. So consider subscribing to my channel. It'll make me happy, and I will try to put out good content that you might enjoy. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day, good night, good week, good month, good year. So see you guys, and thanks for watching.